Niwa. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon from wherever you're watching us from. This is Dr. 𝗡𝗨𝗧𝗥𝗑𝗡𝗡𝗡𝗡, and this is the Health and Wellness Spot. You know very well. On Monday night, this is where we come in to just share some light on health content. And this platform that is called Health and Wellness Spot is where your home of healthcare, is where your healthcare lives. So this is a home of healthcare. Welcome on board. Today I'm going to talk to you about absorption. Now I realize we've talked about digestion and some part of metabolism, but we've never talked about absorption. And possibly that's the reason why most people get confused when you're talking about fat absorption, carbs absorption. Why do we encourage you to eat fats? And why do we encourage you to eat certain types of carbohydrates? What happens? And I realized it's high time that I should do this. And I will actually explain more videos about absorption and digestion, specifically internal and external digestion, on the board videos. And I realize that most of you appreciate those board videos, and it's amazing that you can actually sit here and take about 30 minutes or take about 2 hours to just listen to us, so that you can actually get more information about health. So this is a lecture room that is very important for you, that actually opens up your head to a lot of things in terms of healthcare, and we appreciate the support that you're according us all through. So thank you so much for being part of us. We are live on YouTube, Health and Wellness Spot. We are live on TikTok, Health and Wellness Spot. You can't miss out on those two platforms. Now, if you've never subscribed on my YouTube channel, you're letting us down. Simply go there and just press that subscription button and press that notification bell, so that anytime I have a brilliant health idea, it comes in. And we've made it intentional to actually share most of our educative videos every Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. So anytime it's news time on Health and Wellness Spot. So we've made it a norm that we actually share this information every Wednesday at 2:30. You get to enjoy the health content for free. So join that platform and become a super human being and a super doctor, because you deserve the best. So thank you for joining in. As you join in, kindly let us know where you're joining in from. Let us say hi to individuals from your area zone and share the live. And the most important part is you like the live, because once you like it, it gets to reach to more people. And you can imagine the bigger we're growing to have you guys here. Thank you so much for joining in. Now, cheers. So we've talked about digestion, and all of us can now say they understand digestion. Kaundu Mankura, greetings from Maua, Meru. Meru again. Hii story ya Meru ni kama tutawacha. Watching from NW Nairobi. Karibu sana. So, we've talked about digestion, and all of you got to understand that these foods are broken down in certain ways. Basically, digestion is just either chemical or mechanical breakdown of food from the larger molecules into the smaller molecules, so that you can easily absorb them. The reason why they are digested is because you want to absorb them across membranes. And for you to absorb anything across membrane, one, it has to be soluble either in fat or in water. And number two, it has to be in the least form. So if you're eating ugali, whether brown or white, simply understand your body does not understand colors. Your eyes are lying to you. Brown ugali and white ugali, at the end of the process, they are all glucose. Okay, the rate of absorption might vary because of the fiber content, but all of them are absorbed as glucose into the bloodstream. So as it's crossing the membranes from the stomach into the bloodstream, that is glucose. It's not brown ugali anymore. So therefore, there's no way your liver understands brown ugali and white ugali. So do not allow your physician or your nutritionist to lie to you. You know, brown is better than white. Tell them, you know, what is the nutritional value. Okay, good. So we talked about digestion from A to Z. We talked about protein digestion being broken down from larger proteins to polypeptides to amino acids, and then these amino acids are absorbed across the gut membrane into the bloodstream. We talked about carbohydrates being broken down to the simplest monosaccharides. That is glucose for ugali, rice and chapati. That is galactose for milk, and that is fructose for fruits and honey and the processed foods. And then you absorb fructose. And then we talked about fats, the lipids, being broken down to monoglycerides and free fatty acids that are absorbed into the lumen of the small intestine. But because they are fat, they are not soluble in water. They cannot be absorbed into the bloodstream directly. So they have to be absorbed into the lymphatic system. And in the lymphatic system, they are taken to the thoracic duct, into the inferior vena cava, into the heart. And now they are pumped out to the entire system, into the fat cells. And interestingly, I'll talk to you about how fats how the doctors think fats clog the arteries, and that will happen on the video that I'll do on the board, so you'll get to understand it even clearly. So all of them now are broken down to the slightest component, and they have to cross membranes to get into the bloodstream. Understand that the proteins and the carbohydrates, because they are water soluble, they are absorbed into the bloodstream. So the body was designed perfectly. The body was not stupid. The one who designed the body was a perfect, is it architect or architect? Whichever the English. If you come from Emuhuya Primary School, you understand. It is architecture. Aye. If you come from Riara group of schools, another pronunciation. So yes, they are absorbed into the bloodstream. But before that, they have to go into the portal vein. There's the portal vein system. Anytime you hear the portal vein, understand that is the liver. Sticking to the liver. The portal vein carries the absorbed substances from the gut all the way to the liver for further metabolism and further consumption or even storage. Okay? So that is the channel. Now, when it gets into the portal system, remember this is blood carrying it to the liver. So there's a whole load of blood going to the liver, and it's actually carrying all these minerals and the nutrients that you just absorbed in the gut. So it's carrying all these, the galactose, the fructose, and the glucose. Interestingly, at least for the glucose, your cells can utilize glucose. So your cells, the brain cells, the muscle cells, and the liver cells can actually utilize glucose. And also, in the blood, we have a stable flow of glucose, a stable lane or range of glucose, above which we call that hyperglycemia, below which we call that hypoglycemia. So when you eat the carbohydrate, you go ahead and spike that blood glucose, we go into hyperglycemia. That does not mean you're diabetic. That just means you ate a carbohydrate and now your blood sugars are going up, and the blood sugars in this reference is glucose. So we have to bring it down. That's how the pancreas comes in to give you insulin so that you can pump this glucose from blood into the cells for either utilization or storage. That is for the glucose. For the galactose, the milk sugar, it is taken to the liver and then converted to glucose, and the three fats will ensue. Fat number 1, energy. Fat number 2, storage. Fat number 3, converted to fat cells and stored. So either stored as glycogen temporarily or stored as fat in the fat cells. Now you start growing fat. Okay? Start growing fat. For the fructose, the sugar that is very crazy, the sugar that is very crazy, the one that is considered safe sugar, natural sugar, the honey sugar. So you drop the table sugar and go and take fructose. By the way, did you know that the table sugar is actually fructose and glucose? Did you know that? Ama mjui. Kwa sababu nikipata umekaa Java and you're taking coffee and you're loading in those cans or those tins of honey, and then you're telling me, oh, you know what, I substituted sugar. I don't do sugar for the last 1 year. I substituted it with honey. I'm like, but that is sugar. If any case, sucrose, which is a combination of glucose and fructose, is the sweetest sugar on the surface of earth. But you see, sucrose is a combination of glucose and fructose, so it's understandable. Fructose is number 2 on the sweetest sugars on earth. That tells you, if any case, fructose is the number 1 sugar, the number 1 sweetest component on this surface of the planet. So if you substitute sucrose with fructose, you've done zero work. And now you're wondering, why am I still fat? Why do I still have a fatty liver? Why do I still have high levels of LDLs and all that in the system? Why do I have a lot of inflammation in the system? Why am I diabetic? All this time I've been diabetic and on drugs for diabetes. But you're eating fruits, right? But you substituted sugar for sugar, right? So understand this, that fructose, the reason why fructose fools most doctors that it's a safe sugar, it's because it does not spike glucose. Of course, because it's not glucose. So what it does is, it gets into the bloodstream, no absolute change in the blood glucose. So you'll think, if you take a blood sugar test, even after 1 hour, you'll see I'm okay. But most times when you take those fruits, please, take a blood sugar test after 2 hours. You'll be so shocked that your blood sugar is also high. So if you take those mangoes, take about an hour and take a blood sugar test, you'll know you're doing the wrong thing. You'll know the reason why you're still on diabetic medication over this period of time. Even though you drop the carbohydrates, but you didn't just know fruits are carbohydrates. So fructose maintains a stable glucose flow in blood. However, there is no cell, unlike glucose, that the cells can utilize. Fructose cannot be utilized by cells. It is carried all the way to the liver. And in the liver, it has several fats. Fat number 1 It is converted to glucose to give you the three fats: energy, temporary storage, which is glycogen, and fat storage. You grow fat. Number 2, it is converted, actually the major pathway, fructose is converted to fats. They are called triglycerides. And now the liver has to package this into the LDLs and send it into the bloodstream. So it packages triglycerides into LDL and then sends it into the fat cells for you to store it there. That means all fruits consist of fructose, yes, except avocados. Even the lemon juice has fructose, now that you know. So now this fructose builds up fat in the liver, the triglycerides. Remember, the liver does not know how to store fats. It has to send it into the fat cells, right? But sometimes you overeat these fruits. Every time you're eating a fruit, every day. And now traces of these triglycerides, they start to accumulate in the liver. That is how we end up having a fatty liver disease. Now you see, you did not get a spike in blood glucose. So the blood glucose levels were maintained, right? But in the long run, you ended up getting insulin resistance because a fatty liver is the mother to insulin resistance. Therefore, at the end of that process, you'll still spike blood glucose because at insulin resistance level, you have high glucose and also you have high insulin. So you have high glucose and the body thinks you are unable to actually, you are still starving. So you can't even pump this glucose from blood into the cells. So the pancreas continuously produces more insulin. Now in the system, you have high insulin and you have high glucose. So hyperinsulinemia and hyperglycemia, that is diabetes, that is insulin resistance. At that moment in time, you're still eating the fruits, still loading the liver with fats, still creating a dump site in the system in form of fats and in form of triglycerides in the liver. Then you're wondering why you're on atorvastatin. You're wondering why you're on a hypertensive medication. You're wondering why you ended up having a stroke even though you're eating fruits. You're wondering why you've been taking drugs for diabetes for the longest period of time, 10 years, 12 years down the line, but you've never recovered. You're wondering how you ended up getting a stroke. Are you still wondering how you ended up getting a kidney failure? Do you see that? So fructose is a dangerous sugar because it camouflages. Is that devil that actually dresses in sheep skin? Yeah, the wolf in sheep skin. And that fools doctors a lot. So that is the fructose. The galactose, I've already told you, the milk sugar. As you drink that milk, hoping that, you know what, this is the essential one, that tea that has milk, and you are taking in lactose or the galactose. It's carried to the liver, converted to glucose, and you still have the same fats. So the body does not understand natural and synthetic sugar. The body understands the language of glucose, fructose, and galactose. That is what the body knows. It doesn't know natural and synthetic. Whether you brought in table sugar, it doesn't know this is table sugar. It knows this is sucrose. So therefore, we break it down to fructose and to glucose, and we carry it to the liver for synthesis and metabolism. I think I'm now answering some questions that you people always have. Very slight questions, but we are answering them as we move. So digestion has happened. Remember, we have external digestion and internal digestion. External digestion is what is happening outside the cells, in the gut. The mechanical breakdown, the chemical breakdown through the enzymes that come from the pancreas and the stomach wall. That is external digestion. Now, once you've broken the foods into the slightest or the simplest form, the smallest form of these foods, you now absorb it across membranes, whether through supported active transport or through whatever type of absorption channel that it goes through. Now it gets into the portal system. Is low blood sugar in the body okay? Now realize this, starlight. When you're not eating carbohydrates and you end up having low blood sugars in the system, unless you're on drugs for diabetes, that their number one side effect is hypoglycemia. If you're just, let's say you did not eat carbohydrates, right? And then you ended up having low sugars in the system. What happens is, your body will simply turn to the fats where you stored. Remember, you eat carbohydrates, you use it for energy, some of it is stored in the fat cells, right? So the body simply turns to the reservoirs, the stores, and burns them to give you glucose. Or when it burns fat, it gives you ketone bodies that are very necessary and they are very healthy energy sources, specifically for the brain. So therefore, low blood sugars is never a problem because your body will simply turn to the reservoirs and give you energy. An alternative form of energy. The problem is if you have low blood sugars as a result of either starvation or diabetes medication. So now we've taken it into the portal system. In the portal system, it's carried all the way to the liver. Understand, those are the two major micronutrients. This is the glucose, which is coming from carbohydrates, and this is the proteins, the amino acids, which are coming from the protein diet. Why? Because they are soluble in water. You cannot transport anything in blood that is not soluble in water. Remember, blood is 75% water. So anything that is carried in blood has to be soluble in water. That's why the liver finds a reason to package fats into LDL, which is a vehicle that is actually soluble in water. It makes it easier to transport fats in blood. But in the gut, as we absorb in the gut, we are simply taking the carbohydrates, the glucose, the fructose, and the galactose, and we are taking the amino acids from the proteins to carry it to the liver. The fats will hold back. They'll be taken into the small intestines, and in the small intestines, we have things that are called the microvilli and the villi. They look like the finger-like projections in the small intestines. And this, they increase the surface area for absorption of nutrients in the small intestine. Now, inside this villi, we have something that is called the luteal vessels. Luteal vessels. Sometimes they're called lacteals. These ones are the ones that actually absorb fat. So fat has to wait until it gets into the small intestine, because that's where it's actually digested. It is emulsified. So for you to digest fat, there must be 3 organs that are totally functioning. One is the liver, because the liver will produce bile. And the function of bile is to come into the small intestines to make sure that it makes a surfactant effect. It actually makes these fats to be smaller and a little bit soluble so that they can be absorbed. You've seen how soap works. When you have this, your elianto or your cooking oil on a sufuria, you must add salt so that you actually clean the sufuria. That is the same thing that happens. Bile comes in to actually emulsify the fats to make it easier for you to absorb it. Organ number 2 is the pancreas, because we have pancreatic lipases. Lipases from the word lipid. S means an enzyme, ASE. So lipase, lipid enzymes, they break down lipid. That is the pancreas. So you must have a functional pancreas. And then, of course, you must have a functional gut. So if you have a messed up gut, you will end up having a fatty stool, the one that does not flush. When you just flush the toilet, it just goes and comes back. Hayendi. When you have a problem with the liver, you'll have steatorrhea, fatty stool. When you have a problem with the pancreas, you'll still have the same problem, steatorrhea, stool that has fat. Now, we've digested this fat, we've emulsified it. We absorb it into the luteal vessels. These are the lymphatic vessels. And in the lymphatic system, it is carried all the way into the thoracic duct and goes up into the inferior vena cava. Now remember, this is where biology comes in. Remember the heart, 2 blood vessels that bring in components into the heart, into the right atrium or auricle. This is the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava, coming from under and coming from above. This inferior vena cava is bringing in things from the liver, right? The superior vena cava is bringing in things from the thoracic duct. So we bring things from the thoracic duct into the subclavian vein and into the superior vena cava, the one that is coming from up. So these fats, sorry I said inferior earlier on, these fats will be carried all the way to the superior vena cava, and they are dropped into the upper part of the heart, and then pumped into the lower part of the heart, and then pumped out of the heart into the lungs to get some oxygen, and then comes back into the heart, and then is pumped out through the aorta all over the body. So that's how metabolism happens. You absorb into the liver, from the liver, inferior vena cava, into the heart, into the lungs, back to the heart and out of the body. This other one is coming from the superior vena cava, into the heart, into the lungs, back to the heart and out into the system. From that statement, remember, fats are coming into the heart through the venous system, the veins, not the arteries, the veins. The only time fats are getting an encounter with arteries is when they are leaving the heart, being pumped out into the fat cells or into the system for utilization. Hello? I have a reason why I'm saying that. Tutafikia hiyo reason. Watu wakusema, fats are coming in to clog arteries, I'll end up having a heart attack and all that. We are coming to that. Now, as you're pumping now fats from the heart into the system, lining the blood vessels of the arteries, on the lining of the blood vessels of arteries, there is an enzyme there that is produced by this. There are cells that line the. You remember when I talked about atherosclerosis, I said we have cells that line the arteries or the blood vessels that they are called the endothelial lining, the endothelial cells, right? The ones that are actually destroyed by sugar, by seed oils, and the wheat, the gluten. Those cells are the ones that are responsible for the production of something called lipoprotein lipase. Lipoprotein lipase. Lipo, lipids, protein, lipid and protein, lipase, the enzyme that breaks down fats. So this lipoprotein lipase, its function is to clip any fats that are coming into the arteries, into the bloodstream. Now, we've left the veins, we are now in the arteries. So it clips the fats. And why is it clipping the fats? It's because it wants the fat to leave the bloodstream and diffuse into the skeletal muscles or into the fat cells. Because for you to actually pump the fats from the blood vessel into the fat cells or into the skeletal muscle so that it can actually be stored there or be utilized there, it must diffuse out of the blood vessel. And the enzyme that is responsible for that process of moving the fats from the bloodstream into the fat cells or into the skeletal muscles, these ones, the biceps, the triceps, the glutes and all that, the enzyme is lipoprotein lipase. Hey, uniambie kama utakuwa daktari. Lipoprotein lipase. It is lining the cells of the blood vessel. So that tells you, if at all you have anything that is destroying the lining of the blood vessels, specifically the arteries. So if you're consuming a lot of seed oils that are highly inflammatory, a lot of sugars in the system, a lot of the gluten, a lot of chemicals that are coming in to actually destroy the integrity of the vessel wall, you are actually limiting the amount of this enzyme that is supposed to help you digest fat or clip the lipids so that they can diffuse from the blood vessel into the fat cells and into the skeletal muscles. That tells you, you will now have fats accumulating in your bloodstream. Now take your mind back. That statement is very intentional, because how dare you blame the fat when the real case is what destroyed the availability of lipoprotein lipase, which is wheat, which is sugar, which is the seed oil, and industrial chemicals, smoking. So therefore, we have this good way of actually coating the unhealthy foods that actually cause us inflammation and then blame the fats. Because they are easy to blame, right? Because they are easy for us to defend. We just say, you know what, these are fats, they're not soluble in blood, they will end up clogging arteries. And because you, the masses, have no information, you're like, yeah. So if I eat the animal fats, the way they solidify on the plate, they are coming in to solidify in my blood vessel. Oh, now I understand. So there is where I'm getting the stroke from. But look at your lifestyle. You have never eaten animal fats. You've never used ghee. You've never used tallow. You tried just once and you didn't like the smell. You tried once, you saw it solidifying on the plate because you are a slow eater. You ate so slow and the food solidified on the plate. And the doctor used that against you to sell you the fear. And quickly you bought the idea because you're so quick to defend the unhealthy foods. You're quick and you said, oh, you know what, now I don't, even, that is even safer for me because I didn't like the smell. I didn't like the smell. So at least daktari, we are resonating, we are thinking together. So this one I can actually avoid. So how long have you avoided animal fats but you still got a stroke? How long have you avoided the animal fats or the saturated fats in the name of cholesterol, in the name of heart attacks, in the name of strokes, but you still got a stroke? Oh, 90% of the people that I attend to that have suffered a stroke or a heart attack, or they have been told they have high cholesterol in the system, they have never used ghee. They have never used tallow. They have never used lard. But they ended up getting a stroke. Are we thinking? Is it time for us to open our heads now? And then you are in this bubble of fear. So if I tell you, you know what, you're supposed to eat 6 to 8 eggs. You know what, you're supposed to eat fats. You're supposed to actually take the fatty meats. You're so scared. Why, Daktari? Why are you saying these things? But the real case is, I'm saying it because it's true. You're supposed to eat fats. Otherwise, how will you absorb the fat-soluble vitamins? How would you absorb other minerals that are coming in with the fat? How will you get enough energy if at all you not eat carbohydrates? Do you get it? Can one use coconut oil to cook? Yes, both deep frying and shallow frying. Coconut oil is actually part of the saturated fats. So now, after you've taken these carbohydrates, the glucose and the amino acids into the liver will actually, we call it assimilation or metabolism. So it will metabolize this. And we have different pathways of metabolism. I've already told you that glucose will be metabolized to ATP, the energy, or to stored as glycogen or stored as fat. Amino acids will be converted to glucose. Now, there's something called gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis is basically sourcing glucose from the non-carbohydrate sources. And amino acids play a very good role here. That's why the body does not store proteins. It doesn't know how to store proteins. So if you eat lean meat and you end up overeating your lean meat, the beauty about fatty meat is it will tell you, hey, enough. Because how much fatty meat can you eat in one sitting? Hello? Those of you who love eating fatty meats, how much fatty meat can you eat in one sitting? Can you overeat it? If you eat lean meat, you end up overeating it. You will end up overabsorbing the amino acids. And of course, the amino acids will be used to form neurotransmitters and hormones, the amino acid hormones. The amino acid will be used for structural proteins that will repair the muscles. If you're somebody who works out or you have worn out muscles and tissues, this will be used to actually repair that. Now, excess of the amino acids, the body understands I cannot discard this because I will need it anyway. So the body converts amino acids into glucose and then into fats, and then we store it as fat cells. So imagine that. So as much as you want to eat the lean meat because the doctor has said, fatty meat is a problem, you will end up having excess glucose in the system. So you can actually get to diabetic level by just eating lean meat. You will convert it to glucose and store it in the fat cells. And the body is storing these things in the fat cells, knowing that one day there will be a calamity. You will turn to the fat cells to break down the fats to actually use it for energy. But you are eating every day, 4 meals a day, and still snacking in between. So when do you ever get to burn what you've stored in the fat cells? Some of you eat 5 meals and still snack in between. You're ever hungry. And by the way, when somebody is fat, when you become fat, you don't have any control over eating. Fat people and those people who have a pot belly, you might think they are so full and satisfied, but they are the ones who are most hungry. They will see anything passing them, they want to pick it. They will feel hungry even after eating an hour ago. They'll be yawning in the offices and blaming the cooks. Why is lunch delayed? And then they look at their watch and they realize, oh, we still have 1 hour to go. So when you have that pot belly, you are the most hungry. That name chairman is coming because you eat everything. Yeah, these guys, they don't have just the confidence to tell you, you know what, chairman, at least watch a sambusa zipite. At least spare the sausages. They can't tell you that because they know if they tell you you're chairman, you will buy them beer. So lazima, they must massage you for you to buy them beer. So that's why they call you chairman, kiongozi. The reality is they know this is kiongozi because he eats everything. Everything that passes him, he has to eat. He has to eat everything. So a fat person, you can't blame them. They are producing hormones that are actually giving them more hunger. They are at insulin resistant level where they just want to feed all the time. So they are constantly in a feeding state and they have no control over that. That's why they'll get so angry when they come across my video. Yeah? When I call you chairman, hey, you support me. Hey, we will subscribe to your channel. I'm like, you subscribing for me or is for you? Yeah? When I call you out for having a pot belly, you're like, this doctor is so insensitive. I am. Am I insensitive or are you the one who is just insensitive? You just don't want to hear. I will tell you what you don't want to hear. And I will even tell your doctor what he doesn't want to hear. Imagine a doctor with a pot belly. Daktari, yani hata wewe. Daktari hata hawezi pumua. You can't breathe, daktari. So patient ata breathe aje. Kama and then tawe. Do you have a YouTube channel? Yes, I do. Health and Wellness Sport. That is one. The other one is Dr. Lewis. So those are 2 YouTube channels with totally different content, types of content. One is an identity one. fixing identities and anger and all that. And the other one is this one that we are doing a live on, health and wellness sport. Purely health things. My friend, you are missing out on a mini library. He went to med school for money. Yeah, most let me tell you, bro. When we get into a medical school or even a pharmacy school, all we have is this zeal, this burning desire. You know, you've come from the village and you're thinking you're a very good person, you know, because now I qualified to be here and I stole the exam. I used to have phone to pass exams. By the way, parents, Form 4 results just came out the other day. And most of you are posting your sons and daughters and celebrating. But you're the ones who actually gave them phones. So what are you celebrating? Why are we hypocritical on this? We give these sons and daughters phones to steal exams. We even pay invigilators. And then we come back 2 months later, we are carrying them and celebrating. Oh, you know, hey, I'm looking at parents, I'm like, hey, how evil are we? What are you celebrating? Like literally. It doesn't make sense. So this is the point. So we pass the same route. We use the phone, we steal exams, we get to college and campus, and now we are here. You know, we have this zeal to change the lives of our people in the village. We want to change the lives of our parents because they are diabetic and they're obese, and we don't want them to die. Right? So when we don't want them to die, we come into medical schools. And some of us were pushed into medical schools, not because we wanted to do medicine or pharmacy, no. Because our parents were doctors. Yes? And some of our parents were nurses, so they wanted to succeed through us. Some of them thought, you know what, I'm a nurse because I didn't qualify to be a doctor, so my son must be a doctor. So you're doing everything to make sure that your son becomes a doctor so that you succeed through your son or your daughter. My friend, your son will smoke weed from 1st year to 5th year and he will capture nothing. Nada. Yeah, you've pushed your identity in this son. You will be wondering, why is this son coming home with very red eyes and very dry lips? That is just you. It's a mini image of you. So be proud of it. So some of us, we were born to parents who are doctors and we wanted to become just like them. Some of us were born in poverty, absolute poverty. So we knew the only way to run away from poverty is me becoming a doctor, because that's what was pushing our heads. Enda ukue daktari, enda ukue judge, enda ukue lawyer, enda ukue because they know that that is what is going to yield us money. So when we get in, we are so good people. You know, when we're getting in school, we want success. We want to change lives of people. And if you ask a first year student in campus, why do you join medicine? Oh, they will tell you the best things you want to hear. Give them two semesters when they start doing biochemistry, the deeper pathways of metabolism, glycolysis, the de novo synthesis of cholesterol. When that comes in, I'm telling you, the charity things disappears in our head, and all we want is we're actually wondering, why am I studying biochemistry? Why am I doing inorganic chemistry? I'm supposed to go through these things so fast. I start doing medicine, I start doing surgery, I start doing the real things. As a pharmacist, I want to do the real things. I want to know drugs. I don't want to know biochemistry. What am I doing with these 20 amino acids? Why am I cramming 20 amino acids? Underline the word cramming. And now in an exam, we have Kenya. We have a list of things ladies have written on their thighs. That's when you see a lady putting on a mini dress. Their thighs is like a tattoo, but all that is Kenya. I saw people coming with a sandpaper. Say, you should see 6 in the morning. Baka kuna allergy. Somebody now has to take cetirizine to actually lower the allergies, because now the dust from the seat, they are just sneezing as they write on the seat. And now when they come and tell, hey, songa pale, you're carrying your chair, saying, no, leave the chair here, you just move. You're like, teacher, if I don't carry this chair, you know I'm left-handed. Yeah? I can't write with any other seat. This is a chair for left-handed people. So it's all cramming and just pouring on the paper and then disappearing. You expect this person to come in and change your life and understand biochemistry now. You know, this is the only class that you will sit down and understand things, because there's no pressure for an exam, right? You know very well. You're not here. You are here because there's no exam. That you can come here and understand and just go and challenge somebody somewhere without having to worry about an exam. That's why this class is interesting. But that one, It's not like medicine is tough. No, it's just overloaded with a lot of things that don't make sense. But they make sense after you finish school, when you start practicing. That's when somebody reminds you, no, fruits are carbohydrates. You're like, then takes you back to metabolism. Then you're like, wah. But ego still is in you. You cannot allow it. You cannot allow the truth to settle in you. So we used to cram, my friend. Hey, how am I going to write all these lab results and lab tests and the reports? How am I going to read for 18 units at the same time and do a cut? There's somebody who has 6 units a whole semester. There's somebody who has 3 units. I have 18. I have 20. How am I going to survive this without cramming? You tell me. Like the 2 weeks you're doing exams, from day 1 to day last is exams for you. And somebody did 4 exams in the first week and has only 1 exam in the last week. This guy is coming there to help you play PS. He's actually telling you, hey, daktari, nyi mnasoma sana. Hizi vitu unajua, understanding is better than cramming. He's telling you that. And he has 5 units. So if you take all doctors back to school, we will still have the first and the last. Ask yourself why. So now, you've taken it to the liver, you've metabolized it to the smallest component that is going to be pumped into the cells for further digestion. Remember, there's digestion in the cells and metabolism. That is what we call the internal digestion. The external digestion is the one that is coming in all the way to the liver bus. After absorption, going to the liver, now that is internal digestion and into the cells. So remember, in the liver, we do metabolism, we create things that are active and others that are inactive. We detoxify the foods, we detoxify these substances. So the liver is a very important organ in terms of maintaining your health. So those that are made or rendered inactive, some of them are rendered water soluble for them to be excreted out of the system. And some of them are rendered active to be utilized in the body. So they are now pumped into the hepatic vein. We are still in the vein. So we carried it to hepatic portal vein into the liver. Now the hepatic vein, taking it to the heart, because now it joins the inferior vena cava, the one that is coming from underground. Is it underground or under the heart? The vena cava, the inferior. This one is superior. This one is inferior. So the inferior vena cava, and then into the right atrium of the heart, goes through the tricuspid valve into the right ventricle. It is pumped out through the pulmonary artery into the lungs to get some oxygen, comes back through the pulmonary vein into the left auricle or atrium, pumped down into the left ventricle, which is much bigger and muscular, and then it pumps this out with blood through the aorta and into the system. Have I not just explained the blood flow? Into the system now, and in the system, it is being carried to the cells for utilization, to the tissues. At the tissue level, we don't know glucose, we don't know amino acids, we don't know glycogen, we don't know fats or lipids or triglycerides. At the cellular level, we don't know those. So your cells don't even know glucose. Your cells don't even know fructose. Your cells don't even know amino acids. So what the cells do, they appreciate one substance. So therefore understand that all these macro minerals, after absorption and metabolism, they are limited or they are broken down to only one thing that is called acetyl-CoA. Hello? Acetyl-CoA. Acetyl-CoA. How long does the process of absorption take? Now, these are the questions that I'll actually answer. Safi, just hold on. I'll answer these questions because there are several questions that I wanted to answer. That's why I'm going stepwise, okay? So I'll answer that. So now, you have converted all these things to acetyl-CoA. So therefore, your cell at the mitochondria level, remember the mitochondria is the energy machinery of the cell, is the industry that makes energies. The same mitochondria is the one that is responsible for cancers, because any mutation starts from the cellular level and at the mitochondrial level. So any issue with metabolism at the mitochondrial level is going to yield you cancers. So therefore mutations hail or start from the mitochondria. And one day we'll talk about the mitochondria. You'll get to understand why mutations start from here. It is the energy powerhouse of the cell. So at the mitochondrial level, As we pump in the raw materials to make energy, we are not pumping in amino acids. We are not pumping in glucose. We are not pumping in fructose. We are not pumping in glycerol or free fatty acids. We are pumping in something called acetyl-CoA. This is to the people who tell me glucose is for energy. Just remember that amino acids can actually be converted to the same glucose, gluconeogenesis. Fats can be converted to the same glucose, gluconeogenesis. And we break down proteins to amino acids to now acetyl-CoA, because amino acids will be broken down to the acetyl-CoA. We break down carbohydrates to glucose to the pyruvate. Now, pyruvate is where we get the glycolysis, the 20 steps of glycolysis. You break down glucose through 20 steps to get pyruvate, and pyruvate is converted to acetyl-CoA. These were students who are doing biochemistry start to benefit. So, proteins, amino acids, we go something called the alpha ketoacid hydrogenase pathway. We get acetyl-CoA. It's not that way, Erico. It's acetyl. Let me just type it here because I see most people are getting confused here. Let me write it down so that you can actually know. Acetyl CoA. There we go. There we go. Acetyl-CoA. You see that? Yes, Mama J got it right. Acetyl-CoA, Safi has gotten it right. On YouTube, there is there. Yeah. So that is the compound that gets into the mitochondria. At that level, your body does not understand you ate carbohydrates. It doesn't even care. So you have acetyl-CoA. So proteins, amino acids, acetyl-CoA. Carbohydrates, they're broken to glucose. Glucose goes through the glycolysis. Glycolysis means breakdown of glucose to yield pyruvate. And then pyruvate is converted to acetyl-CoA. And then from there, also another substance that is called ethanol, alcohol. Pombe. When you drink alcohol, you're going to break it down to acetaldehyde and then acetic acid, which will be converted to acetyl-CoA. So even alcohol can yield you energy. So somebody can just drink alcohol and they'll get energy, and later, maybe 8 hours down the line. We're not saying you go to drink alcohol for energy. You'll be depressed like crazy. So alcohol can actually take the same pathway. But you see also apple cider vinegar. Did you know apple cider vinegar is basically fermented apples? I've told you alcohol, which is ethanol, will be broken down to acetaldehyde and then to acetic acid and then to acetyl-CoA. Acetic acid is the active component of apple cider vinegar, the ACV. So which means ACV can also be converted to acetyl-CoA and pumped into the mitochondria for energy. You see that? Then fats are broken down to free fatty acids. That is one pathway. The fats are broken down to free fatty acids. There's a process called beta oxidation. Don't even care about cramming those names. Beta oxidation pumps the free fatty acids and glycerol into acetyl-CoA. So we convert fats into free fatty acids and glycerol. Glycerol can be converted again to pyruvate and then goes back to acetyl-CoA into the cycle, into the mitochondria. Also, the fats can be broken down to free fatty acids and then converted to acetyl-CoA, our substrate. And then fats can be converted to ketones. Ketones. Do you understand the method? Do you remember ketogenesis, not ketoacidosis? Ketogenesis or ketosis, where we break down fats to yield ketone bodies that are best energy sources for the brain. When you're starving yourself with glucose, you're not eating glucose. Your body turns to the stores to burn fat to give you ketones. So fats can be converted to free fatty acids and glycerol, and the other pathway is actually converting it to what? To ketones. All of them can be converted to acetyl-CoA. So the major element here is acetyl-CoA. And then this acetyl-CoA is now pumped into the mitochondria, and in the mitochondria there's an energy pathway, the cycle again, another one that was very stubborn. It is called the tricarboxylic acid cycle, aka the citric acid cycle, aka the Krebs cycle. Krebs again, I'll write it down because people are thinking, what is this Krebs? The biochemist in the house, Krebs cycle, Krebs. There we go. Krebs cycle. So now the Krebs cycle is the mother for energies. And you're telling us, oh, you know what? I must eat to get energy. Eating does not give you any energy. There's no energy that comes from the fat cells. Remember, Whatever you're eating will be converted to either free fatty acids or glucose, and it's stored in the liver or in the skeletal muscles. So these muscles are storage in form of glycogen or glucose, and the liver also stores glycogen and glucose, or the fat cells. The Krebs is cancer in German. Well, we give up. Germans, it's time for you to say bye to the show. So mmeelewa mpaka hapo? We've broken all of them into acetyl-CoA, pumped it into the Krebs cycle, and now the Krebs cycle is where everything is happening. There are several steps in the Krebs cycle that most of us did not like. We did not enjoy that. When it gets into the Krebs cycle, and remember, Krebs cycle gets its raw materials from these foods, including alcohol. But it does not turn to the stomach to get this from there, because you see, it's a long process. Digestion, now I'm answering the question from Safi. Digestion will take you about 4 to 5 hours. Absorption will take you another 1 to 2 hours. You take it to the liver for more metabolism that will take you another hour or so. So by the time you are harnessing this energy from the liver and the skeletal muscles, it has taken you about 8 hours of eating that food. So why do you eat in the morning and still eat in the evening? Imagine you eat a heavy breakfast in the morning saying that, you know what, eating like a king in the morning will give me energy throughout the day. You've not even digested that food. You've not even absorbed it. You've not assimilated it or metabolized it. You've not harnessed the energy. That will take you 8 hours. So that tells you, if you eat morning breakfast, a heavy one, and then you eat lunch, a heavy one, and then you eat light supper, all these energies have not even been, they are not even harnessed. By the time you're eating supper, that's the time you're getting the energy from the first meal that you ate in the morning. So why are you eating in the morning? And why are you eating in the morning when you know already in the morning the body will be giving you energy because of the dawn phenomenon? It's preparing you for the new day. So the foods that you ate the previous day have been metabolized. We have 8 hours to 16 hours here. Now the body is giving you that energy to utilize. So why are you eating morning breakfast? Useless, right? But you don't want to hear that, right? Because you are a lover of tea that has milk, short tea, plus your bread. You can't leave brown bread. You just bought a whole load of bread today in the supermarket. How can I tell you to stop eating bread? How? Imagine that. You just bought a 20 liters of your, is it Salit or a Lianto? And now I'm telling you, you know what? Avoid seed oils. How can you even listen to me? How can you not be angry at me? Why should I not understand you? Now, ladies and gentlemen, as you're on the live, do not forget to like the live. It is very important for us. That is your only role, to lend us your ears and to like the live. Why? Because you'll help us share the live. Is that simple? It's very simple. So imagine that. So you're eating in the morning when the body is actually giving you glucose. So where do you expect that glucose to go? It will be pumped into the skeletal muscle for storage or in the fat cells. You will create a dump site there because you will never utilize that. And as you create a dump site there, you will always be fat. You'll just grow fat. Is it not time for us to change these things? Stop eating in the morning. Stop eating in the morning. You don't deserve to eat in the morning. It's useless. Stop. Good. Let's continue. Now, at the acetyl-CoA cycle in the mitochondria or in the cellular level, that is what we call internal digestion or metabolism. Imagine that. Now we stopped taking the external, because most of you focus on the external metabolism and digestion. But the bigger part is happening inside the cells, the internal metabolism and digestion. The tricyclic acid cycle, the Krebs cycle, the citric acid cycle. This is happening in the mitochondria, and that's where energy is coming from. So therefore, stop thinking that a full stomach is energy. When you stretch your stomach whole because you're full, you fool the brain that, you know what, I'm preparing to release energy from the liver in about 8 hours. The body gives you dopamine. You get excited. Now you think you have energy. Look at those people who work on construction sites. They will feel hungry at noon. They eat a whole load of ugali. At 1:30, they are busy working like bees. You're wondering, where did they get the energy from? Yet the food is not even digested. But they'll tell you, oh, you have never worked on a construction site. Do I really need to work on a construction site to understand simple metabolism? Now that you're here and you work on a construction site, you know better, right? Don't you? Stop telling us, oh, wewe hujaifanya kazi kwa mjengo. My friend, I've done it. And of course, I was just like you. I was so much arguing, eating githeri, 3 plates of githeri. You've seen even our very own Omala. Is it Omala or Romanyala? Manyala, right? Eating 6 plates of rice so that he can run. And you Kwani, nobody teaches these people simple stuff. Nobody teaches them simple metabolism. He has a nutritionist. Imagine that. A whole athlete having a nutritionist who tells him, oh, you know what? You are low here. First of all, you are low here before you are an athlete. Watu wa Busia mpo. In Busia, are you there? That you are Luya before you become an athlete. So you have to eat your 6 plates as a Luya man, and then the athlete comes in now. Now we can think about being an athlete. The basics of sports science after you become a Luya. Luyas and kisses, you tell them about fasting. They're like, tebango. Tuakule. Hufwe. The food is for the stomach. Energy does not come from the stomach. It comes from harnessing the acetyl-CoA from the skeletal muscles and from the fat cells. It's that simple. Now, this is not me saying that fat people have more energy. No. They have a lot of reserves in terms of energy. So if a disaster comes in, they will die last. They will die last. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, before I continue, allow me to market my platforms. I have a platform on YouTube called Health and Wellness Sport. You can't miss out on that platform. 34,000 people having health content. We are at 102 people already on the live. Amazing stuff. Do you think it's easy to put 102 people here for 1 hour plus just listening? Do you think it's easy to put 200 people sitting here, 214 actually, just listening to you? And specifically health content. Who wants to listen to health content? I have to make these classes interesting. I have to make sure the point sings home. I have to make sure I get stories that actually relate to you, hospital stories that relate to you, for you to actually stick here. Imagine doing all that and then one comment ati upsets me. Hata mimi pia naweza kuwa niko na identity issues. You are wrong, daktari. I'm like, yes, I am very, very wrong, bro. Very wrong. And just because you said I am wrong, does it make you right? So I like this. Thank you so much for supporting us. You guys are just tremendous. If you've not subscribed on my YouTube channel, it's called Health and Wellness Sport. Just flock that YouTube channel and just make us get bigger. You people are very interesting people. Thank you. So yeah, we have to be interesting. We have to make the point stink, and then we have to find solutions to your human suffering, right? And that's why we are here. Number 2, I have a YouTube channel that is called Dr. Levis. That YouTube channel is for Friday night shows. We only do shows on Monday night and Friday night. On Monday nights, we do shows on Health and Wellness Sport, health-related content. And that platform, every single time there's a video coming up. Hi, my friends. Free information. Don't wait until I lock it for members. Just go and enjoy the content. And then Dr. Lewis is a YouTube channel that helps you fix your anger, your identity issues, helps you to actually air out your story so that you can actually ease up the tension that is building inside you. It also helps you overcome the nature of evil so that you allow the spirit of light to actually glow in you. Very beautiful channels. Subscribe on those channels. I have a platform on Telegram that is called Health and Wellness Sport, where information is coming in every single day for free. And there you'll meet people who are so interested in health, they understand our gospel, they will answer your questions, they will show you how to find the information and where to find it. Go join Health and Wellness Sport on Telegram. And then I have 2 platforms on TikTok. One is this one that we are doing a live on, it's called Health and Wellness Sport. There's another one that is called Dr. Lewis Muchile. So you can check out both platforms on TikTok. I have another platform on Facebook, 81,000 people. It's called Lewis Muchile. Lewis Muchile is also on X. Lewis Muchile is also on Instagram. So all those are my platforms. Free health information. So if one is locked, we'll get to another one. So you can easily find these things. But I'll be glad if you join my Telegram platform. Not because I'm going to earn anything from it, but because I'm free there. I can share free content. I can share my mind without having to limit things. Like other platforms where you limit your mind because they will come after the channel. So yes, join those platforms. And then we always do online consultations every evening. And we do physical consultations in Nairobi. Our offices are in Nairobi. So you can bring those conversations on the physical consultations in Nairobi. And the physical consultations for this month will start on the 28th day That is the Tuesday the 28th day, all the way to the 7th day of February. Now you can come in and spend some money and just get more information. You fix your identity so that you don't have to worry about 7 days later, which is Valentine's. Let us fix your identity so that you don't worry, what am I going to, what prize or what gift will please my girlfriend or my boyfriend on Valentine's? Some of you are already planning to break up. Some of you are planning to cheat on that day. Some of you are planning to spend a lot of money. I told you about my story with the big doll in a matatu seated in the back seat carrying a whole teddy bear. A whole man with a teddy bear. Ni nini Valentine janionyesha? I even had to pay for a seat for that teddy bear. It was so big. Tawe. So now I'm looking at it, I'm like, what? And I have a small bro who does these things. I'm like, hey, this one will one day learn. I hope one day he gets to my channels, just sees what, hey. Okay, so please use the contact that I'm posting on these platforms to actually contact us. Use WhatsApp. Contact us through WhatsApp messages. 0707074722. If you're outside the country, you can actually use the code +254 at the beginning. So instead of 0, you can use +254. I've pinned it on YouTube and it's actually on every video that I post. It's written there. There's a plug that comes there. That's Dr. Lewis Consultancy. 0707074722. That is our consultation number. Let me just put it here also. That is our consultation number. Use WhatsApp. I'm insisting you use WhatsApp. Because some of you will use my direct contact and then they start saying, I called you did not pick. I called this number, it's not. Please text on WhatsApp. And then we kicked on the 3 months January weight loss program with the individuals that are on that program. They can tell you how interesting that program is. They will one day bear witness. I just hope they keep quiet. We'll get to talk about it after 3 months of the program so that people get to understand whatever happens in that group is not average. It's not average. That is not an average weight loss group. No, it's not. Oh, my friend. A lot of people joined in, and it's just amazing to actually change their lives and help them learn and relearn new information that makes sense. So thank you for trusting us on these platforms. So having talked about that, we've talked about how we break down all this to acetyl-CoA. Now I think it's time for me to answer some few questions that come from you guys. Oh, so remember, fat is not absorbed in the bloodstream because it's not soluble in blood and water. So it has to go through the lymphatic system, and into the lymphatic system it goes all the way. It's packaged with some chylomicrons, or the LDL is carried into the big veins that take it into the vena cava, into the heart, into the lungs, back to the heart, into the system, and there it goes into the cells as acetyl-CoA. But it has to diffuse also from the blood vessels into the skeletal muscles or into the fat cells. And the enzyme that helps it diffuse from the blood vessels into the skeletal and the fat cells is called lipoprotein lipase. Do not forget that. When you're going to your doctor, remember that hormone, that enzyme, lipoprotein lipase. It clips off the larger molecules of fat so that it can diffuse into the fat cells and the skeletal muscle for storage. Now in the fat cells and in the skeletal muscles, that's where it will be tapped in to be harnessed to form acetyl-CoA that will be pumped into the mitochondria for internal metabolism and digestion to be used to form ATP. Some few concepts about ATP I want you to know. One molecule of ATP is the energy currency of the cells, okay? So one molecule of ATP has 7 kilocalories of energy. So basically, 7,300 calories, 1 ATP. Oh, my friends. So therefore, one molecule of ATP that is coming from the mitochondria is a powerhouse. 7,300 calories, which is equivalent to 7 kilocalories of energy. But that is not important. I hope you've noted that down. One molecule of ATP, 7 kilocalories of energy. Now, glucose, when you're taking in glucose for energy, so when you convert glucose to acetyl-CoA and then you pump it into the mitochondria for metabolism and to yield energy, 1 gram of glucose is going to give you 30 ATP molecules. Mathematics starts here. 1 molecule of glucose, 1 gram of glucose, is going to give you 30 molecules of ATP. So therefore, let me pause there and ask you a question. How many kilocalories will you get from 1 gram of glucose? I can't find it when I search him up. Choose health. Where are you searching me? On YouTube or on Telegram? On YouTube or on Telegram? Why is it that everybody tells me that on Telegram, when they try to search, that channel is not visible? Why? Why is that so? It's true. So what then do we do? Because I can't pin the Telegram link here. Should I pin the Telegram on, instead of pinning the YouTube, I pin it on the TikTok? All right, I'll pin the Telegram channel on TikTok after the show. Put the link on IG. I'll put the link on Facebook. I'll put the link here. Instead of the link for YouTube, I'll put the link here for Telegram. Okay? So yeah, after the show, I'll put the link just on my bio on Telegram so that you guys can actually access it with a lot of ease. Thank you for that. I've heard these comments and I think it's time for us to do it. Find it under the YouTube video. Yeah, it is under the YouTube videos in the description area, but I think it's right for me to pin it here for those people who want to join it from TikTok. So yes, I asked a question and I've just seen only one answer. That answer was coming from Obey 219,000. Let's see if other people share the same answer. So I said, one Lenny Nyaga, welcome to the Doctors panel, bro. Welcome to the membership Doctors channel. I appreciate you for joining our channel. Thank you, my friend. Amazing. Send the link. Somebody is saying to share the link on YouTube. Is it possible to share the Telegram link on the YouTube right now? So I think you should check. I think the comment that is coming in from Abdulaziz will come with the link, so you can actually use that link on YouTube. So that means some of you will have to go to YouTube and just check out that link. Okay, so it will come in. Anyway, let's continue as that one is coming in. Now, man like Frankie, great content. I'm new here. Welcome on board, sir. Thank you so much for joining in. Now, listen, I've told you 1 molecule of ATP is going to give us 7 kilocalories. 7 kilocalories. And of course, 1 kilocalorie is equivalent to 1,000 calories. So I'm asking you guys, if one molecule of ATP gives you 7 kilocalories of energy, and 1 gram of glucose gives you 30 ATP molecules. Okay, so 1 molecule of ATP gives you 7 kilocalories, and 1 gram of glucose gives you 30 molecules of ATP. So how much energy in form of calories or kilocalories is 1 gram of glucose going to give you? The great mathematicians. This is why you read the question and you read again. The teacher said, read 5 times. And you read, by the time you're getting to the 5th time, now everything has just disappeared. Kila kitu imepotea. Marian is even saying 4.3. Marian, where did you get 4.3? If 1 molecule of ATP is equivalent to 30, Marian, let me redo this. Yes, people are getting it actually. So if 210 kilocalories, if you don't put there kilocalories, you failed. Cheru, you must put there kilocalories, because we don't know if it is 210 cows or 210. You must involve that kilocalories. That is equivalent to about 21,000 or so, right? Anyway, so this is the point. Sababu ilikuwa ngumu, but we move. So 1 gram of glucose is going to give you 30 ATP molecules. So we simply multiply 30, the molecules of ATP, plus the energy that is provided by 1 1 molecule of ATP, which is 7 kilocalories. We get 210 kilocalories of energy from 1 gram. So therefore, 1 gram of glucose is giving us 210 kilocalories of energy. Now, 1 gram of free fatty acids, which is coming from the fats, is going to give you 130 ATP molecules. 1 gram of fat gives you 130 ATP molecules. How much energy is coming from the fats in terms of kilocalories? So I'm waiting. So these carbohydrates giving you 210 kilocalories. How about the fats? Let us see those who have a calculator here. And you must use the newest calculator. If you can, borrow a graph paper. This is where those guys who sat in the front bench, they're asking for graph papers. I'm like, why the graph paper now? Why? Why the logbook? To intimidate mbaya. Mr. Kebongo, why the graph paper? So how many kilocalories are you getting from the fats? This is amazing. So there are people with calculators here already. Kuna watu wanakaa hapo wanapiga hesabu. Saizi, you're waiting. You've even made coffee because you are dozing off. Now, and then the calculator says, is it syntax error? Syntax error tena. So should I write syntax error as the answer? This is the time. Please wake up and calculate how many kilocalories are we getting from 1 gram of fat, given that 1 gram of fat is going to give us 130 molecules of ATP. Syntax error. Mathematicians, there was another table that was called SMP table. Biostatistics. SMP table. I don't know what that was, but I heard it. Good. 910. 900 is very simple. Simply multiply the number of ATP molecules times the kilocalories that are coming in from one ATP molecule. That is basically 130 times 7. You get 910 kilocalories. So, somebody has said 9 kilocalories. Hey, Eunice. 9 calories. Who is this? Multiply 130 by 7. Is that simple? Now, listen to me. Looking at those math or those summations, 1 gram of carbohydrates is giving you 210 kilocalories. And then 1 gram of fat is giving you 910, a whooping 910 kilocalories of energy. So to you, at the cellular level, which is the energy giving? Is it the carbohydrates or the fats? Which is the energy giving food? Wacha tuone. Wale wakuniambia, oh, if I fast, I will die. If I fast, I will die. I will faint. Yeah, I need to drink energy drinks in the gym to get energy. I must eat bananas. I must eat the protein shakes in the gym to get energy. For you, if something in the cellular level where it's being fed to give you energy in the mitochondria, you're using 1 gram of carbs to give you only 210 kilocalories of energy, and you're using 1 gram of fat to give you 910 kilocalories of energy. Therefore, which is the energy giving food? So therefore, which one should you consider eating more if you really need energy? You should actually consider burning fat over burning carbohydrates. That means you should actually stop eating carbohydrates as a pre-workout meal. Just go to the gym and lift. Your body will turn to the fats and the skeletal muscles to harness the free fatty acids into the TCA cycle to give you all that energy that you'll use for lifting, that you'll use for your brain cells. So therefore you'll never suffer or you'll never faint. You see that? So now you are equipped. In your head, you are a sharp person. As you go to visit your doctor, please carry this video. Go with the link. Just listen to him as he's explaining things. Then now you can actually tell him, Doc, I would like you to watch this video from this gentleman. Is he saying the truth? Wait until you see this gentleman. Oh, Dr. Lewis Tena. Dr. Lewis Tena. This Dr. Lay is of yours. Now become yours. This Dr. Lay is of yours. Hamchoki na huyu jamaa. He's so controversial. Yule daktari wa TikTok, yes Cheru. Yule daktari wa TikTok, he speaks, wacha na ule bwana. You can't follow everything that is coming from that crook. He's a quack. I was called a quack multiple times by a gyna. My gyna called me a quack. I'm like, ay, my gyna, hata identity hauna. A simple identity. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, fats are the energy-giving foods. So when somebody tells you to eat carbohydrates, never skip a carbohydrate meal. Oh, you are diabetic, therefore take ugali the size of your fist. Tell this gentleman, I don't need carbohydrates for energy. Obedeluvinzo, omsiani, vipi? You don't need carbohydrates for energy. Don't allow them to tell you, you know what, for you to lift heavy, you need carbohydrates. You don't need carbohydrates. You need to understand metabolism. You need to understand that when at the cellular level, your cells, your mitochondria does not know carbohydrates. It knows acetyl-CoA, and it simply knows the amount of acetyl-CoA that is coming from harnessing fats will give you more energy in form of kilocalories or calories as compared to the acetyl-CoA that is being harnessed from the carbohydrates. Do we understand that? Good. Now I can easily move on to the questions. Question number 1 that I get all the time. Are carbs energy-giving foods? Aya. Sasa mimi nawauliza hii maswali. Nyinyi ndo mnajibu, mimi sijibu. So question number 1, are carbohydrates energy-giving foods? If not, which is the energy-giving food? And then question number 2, according to question number 1 above, according to A above, you remember those questions? According to A above, and of course, A you failed, so how do you expect to get to B? So if carbohydrates are the energy-giving fats, tell us, energy-giving foods, tell us why. If they are not, tell us which is the energy-giving food. You've seen those questions, specifically chemistry. Calculate what is the mole ratio. According to A above, calculate the moles of sodium chloride or sodium. Aye. Balance the equation. According to the balanced equation above. Mimi nakaa kabisa nasikia kama mwalimu hatutaelewana. Mbona ako hapa? It's lunch time. Ama niko na mpira chini ya kiti. I want to go and play football. It's PE time. But this guy is extending and telling me according to A above. Gani? So yes, we've agreed that carbohydrates are not energy giving foods. They are what we call empty calories because the only thing they give is glucose. But at least fats, they come in with free fatty acids and they help you absorb the fat soluble vitamins A, D, E and K. And guess what? Proteins, the amino acids, have the same energies as the carbohydrates. So 1 gram of protein will still give you 30 molecules of ATP. So even if you're telling me carbs are energy giving, I'll tell you, but they have the same energy as protein. So which one are you telling me? Which carbs, sir? Good. Question number 2. Do I really need to eat to get energy? Very simple questions, right? But these are questions that your doctors beat their fingers. Una sweat mpaka unashangaa ni nini inafanyika na mimi? Do I have TB? Do I need to eat to get energy? If yes, does it mean if I don't eat, I will faint? If I fast, will I faint? If I fast, am I going to go in a coma? Will I be admitted with hypoglycemia? And this answers the question that was actually asked before. Is low blood sugars a problem? And you see the answer is very clear. The answer is no. So if energy is not coming from a stomach, there is no single day your mitochondria will tap energy from the stomach. No mitochondria will come to the stomach to pick energy source from what you've just eaten. Energy will come from the fat cells and the skeletal muscles or the liver. So therefore, you do not need to eat to get energy. If you are fasting, the body will simply turn to the fat cells where you stored excess energy to convert it to glucose so that you can actually utilize it. To convert it to acetyl-CoA, to pump it into the TCA cycle, you get the energy. Question number 3. Is it necessary for me to drink energy drinks or protein shakes in the gym? Hello? Is it necessary for me to drink energy drinks and protein shakes and even eat bananas in the gym for the sake of getting energy? Are you getting your answers now? By the way, did you know energy drink is basically glucose and fructose plus other chemicals that will just destroy you? So fructose, being the sweetest sugar on the surface of heaven, this side of heaven, what happens is you just take the fructose, you feel good. The body rewards you for actually taking sugars. You produce dopamine hormone. It makes you feel good. It's a feel-good hormone. Oh, now you don't have energy. You have a spike in dopamine. That spike is going to go down very fast, and now you'll need another energy drink. So that spike is the reason why you're thinking you have energy. When you extend the stomach wall, the muscles of the stomach expand because you've eaten. This is a message to the brain that you're going to release energy from the liver in a few hours. Now you get the release of dopamine together with that. You feel good. Now you're lied to that you have energy. But the food is not even digested. So therefore no food is coming from there. Therefore no need for you to drink energy drinks. And I wish that one day those refrigerators will be kicked out of that gym. Good. That is question number 3. So therefore we've realized no energy is coming from the stomach, no energy is coming from energy drinks and sodas, nothing like that. And therefore also it's not important for you to eat a pre-workout meal. Question number 4. What is gluconeogenesis? Hey! Kwa mtu ameshtuka kidogo. What is gluconeogenesis? Hii mpaka ningoje mjibu. Hii siwezi. Hii ndajua kama mlikuwa hapa. What is gluconeogenesis? What do you think is gluconeogenesis? That is tough. I understand, Google. Somebody saying energy from the liver. Very true, energy from the liver. But what is it? Because energy can be the glucose or the fats. But what is gluconeogenesis? Cheru, you're on a very right path. Genesis means generation. Good. So what is gluconeogeneration? I want you to get this term so that you don't think that the doctors have a special power on their heads. No. Glucose from non-carbs. We've done with that topic. Marian, you just kicked us so hard and we are good to go. Somebody says ketones, Ama. Yes. Yes. But I want you to know this. Ketones are actually coming from the fats. So you are getting ketones that will be converted to energy. So this is the point. When you're getting energy from carbohydrates, we call that glycolysis. Glyco means you're breaking down glucose because it's lysis. Lysis means breakdown. So glycolysis, breaking down glucose. Gluconeogenesis. Gluco for glucose, neo from new, genesis, generation. So this is glucose being generated from new sources. These sources are non-carbohydrates. So when you get glucose from fats, because you can break down fats to get glycerol, you get glucose from it. You can break down amino acids, which are protein in nature, to get glucose. That is what we call gluconeogenesis. You've actually generated glucose from sources that are not carbohydrates. Did you see that? Is that not amazing? Have you learned something new? Of course. Should we call that neo information? So now you are an equipped gentleman or lady knowing the pathways of metabolism. You've known the internal metabolism and digestion. You've known the external metabolism and digestion. You've now understood that we can actually get energy by not just eating carbohydrates. Now to the last question. Can I work out on an empty stomach? Once you answer that, we call it a night. Can I work out on an empty stomach? Hii darasa ni interesting. This is the first time we've done a cut, right? Next time mutakaa chini mfanye mtihani. Can I work out on an empty stomach? And of course, ladies and gentlemen, the answers are very clear. So therefore, it's time for me to call it a night. 1 hour, 30 minutes of an ending information. Super health information. Super absorption and digestion. You are more doctors than I am at this moment in time. Thank you so much for being participants. Thank you so much for liking our live. If you've not liked it, it's time for you to just do that like. You have about a minute to like it. Thank you so much for being an amazing audience. An amazing audience. Thank you for allowing me and trusting me to actually just impart this information in your head so that you don't get to be lied to. Thank you so much for always being here and always challenging us to be better. Thank you for the questions that you ask on our comment section on YouTube videos. And I realize the YouTube videos that we've done so far, the ones that are coming in with the board, they are so informative and you people are appreciating it. And thank you so much for actually making us do better. You guys are so amazing. And Health and Wellness Sport is where you need to be, a home of healthcare. Please subscribe on my channel on YouTube, Health and Wellness Sport, and Dr. Lew is on YouTube. We will see you again on Friday at the same time, same channel, same time, same doctor, a different channel for Identity Fridays. Right? So thank you for being an amazing audience. I can only say good morning, good afternoon, and good night from wherever you are. And keep sharing these lives and these videos to those people who really deserve this information. I appreciate all of you, and we'll see you on Friday.